Welcome to another episode of Off Script with Emma. I have the beautiful Aimee with me here today. Aimee and I have met up here on the Sunshine Coast, and to give you context, we have just experienced the most severe thunderstorm ever. There is like golf ball sized hailstones outside, but we're going to persist. So today you'll get to know Aimee. She has an amazing story. She's going to tell us all about where she has gotten herself to and the journey that it took to get there. Aimee, introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Let us in.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
You're welcome.
I feel very grateful to be here today. I am Aimee, a certified menstrual cycle coach and natural contraception and fertility educator, and I help women reconnect with their bodies and their hormones and get rid of any of those period pains and symptoms that they may be experiencing throughout their life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we were talking a bit before about the purpose of this podcast, being off script, moving away from the status quo. And for most people, they went through their journey in high school and they felt like they had a specific path that they had to follow and almost felt a bit pressured to go one way and not really follow intuitively what they wanted to do. So start from there. What was it like for you, your experience in school to where you are now?
Yeah. So in school, I'm from a really small town, so the options that were available or that you perceived were available were, for guys, you were a trade, or for women, you were a nurse or you were a hairdresser. They were probably the two biggest career pathways for women. And I remember being in year 12 and we had a careers advisor, and they would be like, what do you want to do? Like, what uni do you want to go to? What classes do you need to help get you there? And I was like, I don't want to do any of this. And it used to be really frustrating for them because they were like, well, what do you want to do? And I just was like, none of this. And I'm happy just to go out and work until I find out what that is. Although I did feel the pressure a little bit, and it was frustrating because I didn't know what I wanted to do either. But I knew that it wasn't hairdressing, nursing. I didn't want to work for somebody else. It didn't feel like something that was going to fill me up. And deep down, I was like, I want to work for myself. It's going to be something that really lights me up, that I'm really passionate about. But at that time, no idea.
It's so interesting that they were getting frustrated with you not having any clue. And I think it's really normal for people to be like, I have no idea what I want to do. I'm 17 years old. How do I know what I want to do with my life? Just spent our teenage years rebelling, trying to work out who we are as a person, let alone our career.
I know, right?
Yeah. So what did you do? What was the first step after school?
So after school, it was always on my mind that I needed to get out of that small town. So as soon as I turned 18, which was the year after I finished school, I moved to Melbourne and I just worked in retail. So I was working at Cotton On. I progressed really quickly to be a store manager there. I moved around being store managers through that franchise for a while.
Okay.
But I was still just kind of working for the sake of working and earning money. I still had no idea what I wanted to do. At that point, I started getting frustrated because I was like, I'm 20 now. I've got no idea what I want to do. People are pursuing their careers and I'm still just in retail and I know it's not my passion. And I think at that time, that started to really bug me down. And I continued on that path for a little while before I found what I'm doing now.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you felt like everybody else was finding their career path, but you just didn't really feel like it was happening for you.
Yeah.
What was the moment or the shift where you, okay, retail's not for me, I'm going to look into something different?
Yeah, I think it was something that happened to me really. It was, and at the time it was really traumatic and depressing, but now I look at it as like I had to go through that to be where I am. And that was through being on the pill and having a really traumatic experience in my early 20s and having this intuitive nudge that I needed to get off the pill. And through that, I found all of these things about women's health and hormones. And it honestly just clicked. And I remember looking at Andy and was like, my husband, I said, this is what I need to do. Like, this is my path in the world. It was so clear that that was it. And it just made sense that I had to go through what I went through to get to that point to know what to do next. Yeah.
And so you went through that experience and like you said, it really pushed you in the direction of this is my passion. So where did you go to from there? Because you've obviously learned a lot yourself. So what was the next step?
Firstly, when I found out all of these things, I think I was in like my mid-20s, like 24 or something like that. But it was also the time that COVID was
Oh, okay.
going on. And I was also getting ready to get married. And then after we were getting married, we were going to travel Australia. So in my brain, I was like, I don't want to study yet. I've got all of these things going on, plus it's COVID. I can't really do anything anyway. So I focused on our wedding and getting ready to travel Australia. But I just researched the hell out of hormones. I started doing everything myself, implementing it in my life, doing as much as I could before I had to go and get the qualification. So it really started there. And then after 2 or 3 years, then I went and got my qualifications.
Yeah.
And it happened from then.
And so when you get your qualifications from there, is you just start taking on clients, you work for clinics, how does that work?
Yep. So I think it took me like a year and a little bit to get my qualifications. And then it was just starting to work online. Yep. Clients just come to me from online. I think it's crazy. I had clients from my old hometown. And it's funny when you're from a small town and then you move out and you think that you're never going to have relationships with these people again. And then they come to you for like support and for coaching, which was really beautiful and amazing. So
did you think it was going to be like that?
No.
Because I know when I interviewed Ash, she said just that small town syndrome, they're very different. They're on a different path.
Yeah.
She found it hard to relate to them, and some people would be fearful of what people would think of them when they're doing something different. So was that a surprise that that was their response?
Yeah, I think it was a surprise. When I thought about it, I just thought, oh, like you're actually like interested in what I'm doing and following along and actually think that you're going to gain something from this. And I just kind of put everybody in the town in like they can watch it, whatever, it's not for them. Like I'm past this. But they were my first clients and they ended up being some of my best clients and they referred people on. So yeah, I was really grateful to have that and to be reminded. I'm like, oh, people actually still do care or like what I have to say back from home. It was healing.
Yeah. So I want to touch on that a little bit because I think a lot of people will allow fear to stop them from doing something like this and putting themselves out there, taking on clients. So talk about the belief that you had in the beginning, like whether you did have belief in yourself or not. What did that look like?
I don't think I ever struggled with having the belief that I could do it or showing up. It was still scary. Like it's still scary, and like trying to talk to camera for the very first time when you've never done that before, like it can be really intimidating putting it out to the world and being like, this is me now. But I think I was so convicted in this is going to help so many people and this needs to be shared that it completely overrid any of the fear that I had about showing up and doing something different.
That's amazing because the level of conviction that you had meant that it didn't matter what else was out there. So if you've got conviction, you've got belief in an idea or something that you truly believe in, that can be really helpful in, like you said, showing up on social media, because there's parts that come with that, marketing, business. So talk about your business journey, creating that, getting clients. What did all that look like?
Yeah, well, it's been a struggle, like the beginning being completely fresh to business, not really into social media. So I think that side of it was very like, I've got no idea what I'm doing. And I was just throwing shit up a roll for a really long time.
See what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yes.
And I did that for a really long time. I just had to make it work. And then you just have to find mentors. And I just got a mentor as soon as I could. And she made the world of difference. And I've continued to make sure I've got people in my corner ever since. And I think just surrounding yourself with more business owners and more people on that path, even if it's a different industry, because they've all got something really beautiful, like some value to give you. And that really helps you expand and grow. And that's been like pivotal in my business journey.
Yeah. So would you say that you've had support from all spaces, family, friends, partner, everyone in doing this?
I think I'm pretty lucky. I haven't had anybody shit on me or anything like that. And if they have, they've done it behind my back. So I don't even know anyway. But my husband has been the most supportive person that I could ever have in my corner. Like he has just every step of the way, so much belief in me, even when I was starting to lose belief in myself or starting to have doubts when things get a little bit rocky or it's too hard. And he was like, you've got this.
Just an anchor.
Yeah, he's just always been that rock, which has been so amazing. And even my friends have been like, oh, I'm so glad with what you're doing. Like, I think I'm really grateful to have made sure that I had a really solid group of friends that we would all like lift each other up if we were doing something big for ourselves.
Yeah. And those friends were from back home or from up here? Like, I'm curious, how did you end up on the Sunshine Coast? What did that look like?
So friends from back in Victoria, but not necessarily friends from my hometown. Like I moved to Melbourne as soon as I was 18 and I made a new group of friends. I still have a few friends from back home, like my best friend and some other really close friends. And they're still super supportive as well, which is why I've kept them around. But yeah, they were friends from Melbourne with a new group of friends that I connected with. So they've all been super supportive. And then we moved up to the Sunshine Coast at the beginning of this year after traveling Australia, and I knew that I needed connection and a community of women who were quite business driven, expansive. And the Sunshine Coast, like there's just no other place that has that.
So good.
So good. So when we were traveling and we landed here, Andy and I both just thought, oh, this is our place. Feels good. So yeah.
We've noticed that as Dylan, not so much because he's obviously away most of the week, but I have just noticed meeting you, meeting Ash, meeting everyone in Walk, Talk and Work, even just training at Revel this morning, just everyone is so lovely, open, empowering, supportive. There's no judgment. There's no comparing yourself to the next person. It's purely just everybody wants everybody to win.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been in a community so much like that where they really do want everyone to win. Like it is such a community feeling and you feel at home and welcomed, and so many opportunities have come just from being here. Like we're here right now. Like everything that has happened in the last 5-6 months for me has just been something that I didn't even think would happen this quickly. It's been amazing.
Talk about the steps that you take to create that community too, right? Because they don't just come knocking on your door. Like what have you put in place to build a community, have people around you?
Yeah, I think it's really important to feel the fear and do things anyway. That's my biggest motto, is feel the fear, but go and do the thing anyway. And yeah, it was quite lonely when I first moved up. I didn't have a car, so it took me a while until I could be in community. But I found the Walk Talk group, which is a Friday morning group of women in business and from all walks of life. So I just made sure that I put myself in uncomfortable positions. I went to the walk group every Friday. I was going to networking events on my own. I was reaching out to people on social media, being like, I think we live in the same area, and walking, like doing a coffee date. I just continuously put myself in really awkward and uncomfortable situations. Until they weren't awkward and uncomfortable anymore. I just continued to give myself evidence that I'm not going to die. People are actually really nice if I give them the time of day.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that could happen is that we don't vibe and then we just don't do that again.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And most people are usually waiting for you to make the first move, particularly in these types of settings. So, I guess what would be your advice to someone who is looking to build community connection and maybe they are feeling a little bit fearful of stepping into an event like that? What would you say?
Feel the fear and do it anyway. I think it's good to know that people, again, are also scared and everybody has had to make that first step.
Yeah.
So everybody understands what you're going through. And if you go somewhere and they're not warm and welcoming when you're putting yourself out there, they're not the right people for you anyway.
Yeah.
Like you really do want to be a part of a community that makes you feel welcome, that is warm, that is comforting. So if you go somewhere and that doesn't happen for you, you're like, well, that's not my group anyway. And then go somewhere else and the right group will find you.
Have you always had that mindset towards the people you surround yourself with, that they need to be aligned, and if they're not, or is it something that has evolved as you've grown up?
I think it's evolved. I think when I was like 18 to 24, I was living an 18 to 24-year-old life. I was quite a party girl back in the day. So my friendships were kind of aligned with that, although some of my closest friends are still from that era of my life and we've kind of grown together. But I don't have the mentality of if we don't have all of the same values that we can't be friends anymore. I just maybe see them a little bit less, or see them if I need X from them, and then go to the girls where my values are like aligned and I feel really lit up if I want business advice or if I want to feel like welcomed and warm. I still love people who don't have the same values as me.
Yeah. They bring qualities to the table that are not necessarily ticking all the boxes, but some. Let's talk about business lately, because I know that you've spoken at the event that we went to last week. You've just gone on this business retreat. Everything's really happening for you at the moment. yeah, tell us about what it's like to be a business owner, working online, working remotely, because I think a lot of what I want from this podcast and for people to see is that there are other possibilities out there. You can have a passion. You don't necessarily have to go through a really significant event to find what that is, but that there are other opportunities out there. Yeah, so talk a day in the life, business owner, what is it like?
Well, I still have a full-time job as well. So I do both. If somebody is looking to make a change, it doesn't have to be I'm quitting my job cold turkey and then going straight for the thing and then being so stressed because you can't make ends meet. And then you end up going back to a job that you hated because you quote unquote failed. So having a full-time job has been really supportive because I've got stability. I know that I've always got a certain amount of income coming in. I also work from home with that as well. So I'm extremely grateful that I have that. So I've got so much time in my day. The company that I work for know that I have a business and they're really supportive of that as well. So if I want to take time off or I've got things on, I can let them know, which has been amazing. There is a period that you have to hustle. Eventually you want to get to a place that you're not working crazy hours, and that's the goal. I think that's why a lot of people want their own businesses, is that freedom, that flexibility, that time back. But you do need to work for it at the beginning. Like it's not going to just fall on.
Happen overnight.
It's not going to happen overnight. So I've been slowly building and I'm getting more opportunities at speaking events, which is just like out of this world. Podcasts, it's been really great, which has really helped business. But also having that full-time job while I'm chipping away at it has been really beneficial, and I just make it work. I work beforehand, during my lunch break or after work, stay organized so I'm not burning myself out. And that's how we're making it work at the moment.
Sometimes people will make an excuse of I'm busy, I've got too many things on. Maybe they have kids and it's there's too many things on, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So what have you put in place to make sure that you can be disciplined, that you can find the time, even if it is just a little bit of time before and after work? What does that look like?
Yeah. I know my non-negotiables and the things that I need to do every day and things that fill up my cup every day, which is like going to the gym, eating nutritious meals. I know that I've got to work from this time till this time. I want to go to the gym this time till this time. So where can I fit in business around those things? So just making sure that I'm really organized. And Sundays are absolutely must, setting me up for the week ahead. If that's not put in place of I need to get these done, I've got these events on, so we need to schedule that in. If I don't organize to allow for that, my week's screwed. And that means business is going to be the first thing that falls off. And you have to stick to your why and your big goal to bring you back to that organization, to make sure you adhere to get there.
What's your why? What's your big goal?
My why, my big goal is to support as many women as possible and have such a big impact on women's lives and their livelihood, and reconnecting them to being a woman and their body and loving being a woman, because I do want that freedom to create my own life and to be able to go travel. That's massive for me. I love traveling. So, and I don't want somebody else to be in control of my life and when I can do those things. So they're my two biggest whys, is my freedom and supporting women.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you touched a little bit there on getting women to reconnect with being a woman. So I do want to go down this path because it is very much about your journey and getting here. But yeah, I just find everything that you have and the knowledge that you have around this subject is so important for people to know, because I've even learned so much from you in the small amount of time that I have known you. Not so much going into maybe the specifics of cycles, but what are the main things that you come across that women have problems with, and what you typically work on them with?
I think a lot of women just have a problem or this really negative mindset of what it means to be a woman, and they end up just really negative and hating themselves, their bodies. They are really fatigued and have this mindset of like women they have to go through these things, or they have to get their periods, and why do we have to be the ones who birth children and menopause? And it creates this really negative relationship with themselves. And the more that you talk negatively about who you are, the more that's going to impact not just you, but your relationship with your partner how you show up with your friends, the confidence that you have with life. Because being a woman and those parts of being a woman, like your period and all of those things, they are a huge part of you. So the more that you hate on that, the more that you're just hating on yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing I see is just women hating being women, and that just impacts everything.
Yeah. And so you're sharing a different perspective on how to see that.
Yeah.
And seeing it as a getting to learn about your body and how it can be a good thing as opposed to a negative. So because a lot of your work is around, like you said, women's health, but then you're busy, you're working, you're running a business. How have you found knowing yourself, your cycle, everything about your body? How has that really helped you to, because the way I see it is that you're very organized, you're very disciplined, you're getting things done, you're healthy, you look beautiful, you're in great shape, like all the things. So how does having that under control help you with business?
Great question. I think the more that I've delved into it and the more that I've learned to love being a woman and know what's going to be supportive for me and my body, it just breathes life into me so that I can give more in my training and in my relationships and at work, and then also into business as well. The more that you start to love and understand your body and know what you need to do to support it, the more energy you have, the more life that you have, the magnetism that you provide. So just through me doing that on myself and knowing when I need to rest potentially, when I need to set boundaries, has just like flourished into the rest of my life of that being this really beautiful, beautiful life that I have now.
Because when you were talking about at the event the other day, focusing on depending on where you are in your cycle and being aware of how focused you can be when you're more than likely going to do certain tasks, like it's not always as rigid as that, but to be mindful of that. I think even just since then, even in the last few days, I've been more aware of, okay, where am I? How am I showing up? How am I feeling towards my work and everything like that? So what would be some advice or tips that you could give people, just some snippets into some things that they could look into further if they're feeling like they're having problems or something's not right? Like what would be some initial steps that they could take?
Yeah. My biggest step that I tell everyone is to get a physical cycle tracker. I have a physical cycle tracker.
Mine's on my fridge.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, yes. A physical cycle tracker, which is just an A4 piece of paper, which has about 35 days in it, and start tracking how you feel every day, pen to paper, because it's so much different than having the Flow app or Stardust or whatever your period tracker is. When you have to sit at the end of the day and think, how did I actually feel today? Was I stressed? And if so, what contributed to that? Did I have any cravings or was I irritable? Like all of these feelings and emotions that we have throughout the day, if you're not stopping and thinking about it at the end of the day, you just go through the next day and you just go through the next day and you're not really understanding what your body's going through or telling you. So through a physical cycle tracker, you can reconnect, and in like a month, you'll be able to pick up, oh, this thing is stressing me out and that's actually a common pattern for me. What can I do to support myself? Or I notice I get more irritable when I do this. Like you'll be able to pick up your patterns, and that way you'll be able to know what you need to do to support yourself through that.
Yeah, because I don't think a lot of people, I definitely didn't learn anything about this when I was growing up. I even think about back to high school PE and sex ed, and even when I was teaching, I taught up until year 6, like year 6s, and we would talk about the menstrual cycle in when you would get a period. We definitely did not talk in cycles or seasons. We told the boys that this is what happens to a girl. She bleeds, and that was basically it. Yeah. But then even when I think back to high school, I really don't remember too much. But I think, like you said, where as women, sometimes we get ourselves in this negative mindset of, woe me, because I've got to have children, cramps or PCOS or whatever's going on, that we just allow ourselves to go, well, I'm just attaching myself to that and it is what it is. But I also think this is why I love what you're doing, and it's so important that people know that they can work with you, because there's not a lot of help out there, but you're creating space, you're creating a pathway for women to get help, and that's really really special.
Yeah, thank you. After learning all of this and implementing it in my life, I just think of it like being a woman is so amazing. And I get to experience all of these different sides of me. And if you are going to be someone going through pregnancy and birth, like thinking about that, like you actually get to create life. How amazing is that? Like we have the ability to grow a human and go through this transition of motherhood. Like that is so beautiful. And when you change your mindset to embrace it and have fun with it, it's hard not to love. And I want all women to feel like that, because I don't know many women who do feel like that. And once you do, like life just feels so much better, and it just impacts just all areas of your life and the people around you as well.
Well, it's contagious. Even just listening to you and the energy that you give off, I'm like, oh my God, this sounds so exciting. I love being a woman. And I'm excited to learn more about my cycle and everything too. Yeah. So a lot of my listeners, this is a little bit more directed to my She Sells girls in the She Sells community. Because a lot of them are probably still working full time, and they're learning how to work in sales, and they're doing a career change, very similar to what I did. But a lot of them are in a scenario where they have to be working while they're learning on the side. So, and I think sometimes in the sales industry in particular, there's this real hustle culture. There's this real hustle, putting in the work all the time, always reviewing your calls, just hustle, 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 go, go, go. But I do feel like it's very male dominated. So the women in our community, what would be your advice to them? Someone who is working probably full time. A lot of them have kids. They're learning on the side. They want to do a career change. What are some things that you would say to them in terms of looking after themselves and not buying into the hustle for success? Because that's what it is.
Massive. I think the biggest thing and the belief that you have to rewire is that rest is productive, and it is not lazy to need moments of stillness. And in such a male dominated field, obviously you're trying to work at the same wavelength as the men, but your body clock is completely different. They have a 24-hour cycle, so they can give 110%, and it's the same 110% every single day. But we do naturally have ebbs and flows of our hormones, which means that some periods of our cycle, we may feel like our energy is lower, and we do need to acknowledge that and rest. And that is not you being lazy. That is you acknowledging that your body just needs to take a step back. And that doesn't mean that you need to take the day off and you do nothing. Like that's not what rest is. It's just understanding that maybe your 110% today isn't the same as the week before, and that's okay. And if you give your body that space to rest now, I guarantee you in a week's time, you're going to have more energy. But if you don't listen to your body now, your 110% in the week following is going to be a lot lower because you haven't listened to your bodies.
And your body will force you to be at that level anyway.
Yeah. Your body will really force you to take the rest, and then you're probably going to need more than you did to begin with.
I love what you said there, and don't feel guilty for the rest.
Yeah.
I know I definitely, when I'm not focusing on sales or bettering my skills, because I work from home and I can spend a 14-hour day learning, growing, reviewing my calls, I do feel guilty when I'm not. So just hearing you say rest is okay. You don't have to feel bad about resting. And I think we are surrounded by, particularly on social media, that hustle culture, that boss girl, boss babe, in that you need to be go, go, go. But I think it's really good to hear, especially from you with all your knowledge and what you know, is that it's okay to rest. You don't have to feel guilty.
Yeah, don't feel guilty. It's going to be more beneficial for you to take a step back. And you'll actually find, and something that I found, is the moments of rest will actually decrease the more you do it, because you're allowing yourself to.
Right.
So at the beginning, if you've got these massive fatigue symptoms, you might need a rest for an hour, and that looks like doing nothing and having a nap. But the more that you understand your body and you maybe just don't push yourself as hard, you won't need an hour of just a nap. You might just need 20 minutes of calm time, and that will be enough to get you going.
And calm time being like, is it reading? Are we just sitting? What are some things that people can do to rest? Because When I think about rest, I think about a nap or I'm watching Netflix. Like that's my that's my rest.
I wouldn't call Netflix resting,
Numbing.
but
Numbing.
yeah, it's more numbing. I think it depends on the person, because what really fills somebody up mightn't fill the next person up. But I would say as a blanket rule that technology as a whole is not resting. It is just numbing, and it's very overstimulating even if you don't feel like it is. So removing the technology and just going for a walk or going for a swim or spending time with your family, something that's just really slow and grounding for you, having like a yoga class or something like that, whatever is going to fill your cup up, do that apart from Netflix.
Dang it. I'm like, yes, tell me it's rest. No, I know. I learned, reflecting back on my earlier career, that I use Netflix as a numbing, any type of doom scrolling, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, as just, I don't want to deal with shit right now. I'm just going to scroll or doom or watch something. I feel like a lot of people would relate to that.
Yes.
Final words of advice. If you think about your journey to date, what is something that really stands out to you that you're like, I just need people to know this, as in a lesson that you learned that took you years and years, or just something that stands out that you're like, I just need people to know X. Can be to do with business, women's health, whatever you want it to be.
Aside from, I just need people to know that being a woman is amazing, because that is probably my biggest thing.
Yeah.
Being a woman is amazing. But the second thing I think is just something that took me a really long time to have conviction in, is that you really can do and be anything that you want to. And I know that sounds really like cliche. It really is true. Like, you can do the podcast. You can change careers 5 times if you want to. It's okay to do that. And it took me a really long time to like really land with that. If you want to do a change, like, just feel the fear and do it anyway. Like, it's worth it, and like your people will support you.
Yeah.
Like
you said, I'm not going to die. Like, you go to an event, you're not going to die. It's going to be okay.
That's my thing. I'm not going to die. But I could live this really amazing life if I do it.
Yeah. That's what, so I had Dylan on yesterday. We did another episode about whether people have supportive partners or not. It was really good. He sounds a lot like your hubby, which is nice. But we were talking about just, okay, but what happens if it does work out? He's very glass half full.
Yeah.
What happens if it does? Because again, like you said, if you give yourself evidence and keep saying to yourself that things are going to go badly, then they're probably going to. But if you switch that to an empowering belief, and like you said, it's what's out there. It's what we see all the time, all these like quick quotes, but they're there for a reason, because it works. You can create the lifestyle that you want. You just have to feel the fear, do it anyway.
That's so true. It's, what if it does work out? That's massive. Is if it doesn't, it doesn't. Just go back to doing what you were doing.
Exactly. And you'll learn from it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if people want to work with you, find you, where can they go? What do they need to do?
Yep. They can find me on my Instagram, which is just Aimee _. In the link in my bio is where you can go into coaching, or you can get my free cycle tracker as well if you want to learn how to reconnect with your body. Otherwise, you can just send me a DM and ask me any questions. I'm more than happy to answer anything.
And are you open for clients at the moment? You're taking on one-on-ones?
Yeah. Yep. I am taking on one-on-ones. So if anybody needs anything about period pain, fatigue, or just reconnecting with their body so they can optimize their life, I'm your girl.
You are. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
We weathered the storm.
We did.
It's gone now. It was a wild ride.
Yeah.
All right, lovely people. See you on the next one.
Bye.